Continuing our vampire motif, today we're going to rank the top vampire shows of all time.
You doing out wandering in the forest?
Oh, I'm not wandering. I'm taking a walk.
You look lost.
I'm not lost.
Maybe a little lost?
Maybe just a little lost.
Ranking the top 20 vampire TV shows of all time. Number 20, Port Charles. Residents at the hospital, doctors, friends, and their families are constantly threatened by Dr. Greg Cooper, who may be the homicide killer, avenging all of them because he was dropped from the hospital's intern program. The show stars Julie Pinson, John Lindstrom, and Lynn Herring. A spin-off of General Hospital focuses on the professional and personal lives of first-year interns at Port Charles's General Hospital. The hospital's residents, doctors, and their friends and families are constantly threatened by Dr. Greg Cooper, who may or may not be the general homicide killer. Cooper tries to get revenge on all of them because he was dropped from the hospital's intern program. After the cancellation of Port Charles, several cast members transferred to General Hospital as new characters, and this show's storylines were forgotten. 10 years later, in 2013, General Hospital at last addressed this show when Lynn Herring's Lucy Coe mistook Kelly Monaco's Sam McCall for Livy Locke and Michael Easton's John McBain for Easton's Port Charles vampire king Caleb Morley, attempting to stake him in the heart with a wood chair leg. The show also reintroduced Aaron Hershey Presley's Allison and answered the question of Allison's pregnancy, which was left on a cliffhanger when Port Charles was canceled. This was the first daytime soap opera to feature vampires and, at least, a werewolf, revealed only in the last episode, since Dark Shadows. Both daytime soap operas originally aired on ABC. This was also the third daytime soap opera to regularly deal with supernatural elements, besides ghosts. The other two were Dark Shadows and Passions. Number 19, Sanctuary.
They are the key to the evolution of our race.
You want me to help you capture monsters?
Modern society's evolution involves stem cells, gene therapy, transplants, and cloning, but it also exposes the existence of monsters that hold the key to our race's future. Stem cells, gene therapy, transplants, cloning. The very meaning of the word humanity changes daily in the modern world, but there is a darker side to the evolution of mankind, a truth only a few brave souls are willing to face. There are monsters loose in the world, and they are the key to the future of our race. The show stars Amanda Tapping, Robin Dunn, and Christopher Heyerdahl. Jonathan Young, who plays Nikola Tesla, also plays Dr. Ethan Edison in the sci-fi series Eureka.
Sanctuary is a project that's been close to my heart for over a year now. Many people have been working really hard to create something new, something really special for everyone to enjoy. I'm really proud to be a member of this team.
In real life, Nikola Tesla and Dr. Edison's namesake, Thomas Edison, were bitter rivals. Christopher Heyerdahl has appeared in the Twilight Saga movies as a vampire. Number 18, Kindred The Embraced.
Let me begin. I am Daedalus of the Kindred, primogen of the Nosferatu clan. My haven is here below ground in San Francisco.
Julian Luna, the undead prince of the city, leads the vampire clans as he falls in love with Caitlin, a human reporter. The show stars Stacey Hayduke, Eric King, and Patrick Bauchow. Julian Luna, prince of several disparate vampires or kindred clans in San Francisco, has his job cut out for him. He must try to keep a tenuous peace among them while not being afraid to apply ruthless justice against those who would break kindred rules. Infractions that merit final death include taking human life and changing humans into vampires who have not volunteered for the transformation. Kindred The Embraced is based on The Vampire, the Masquerade role-playing game, which Mark Rein-Hagen created as the first of several storytelling system games for its World of Darkness setting line. Number 17, Being Human.
Someone's in the house. Where? Upstairs. Hey, wait. Should we call 911? You're a werewolf. Occasionally.
Three 20-somethings share a house and try to live an everyday life despite being ghosts, werewolves, and vampires. The show stars Sam Witwer, Megan Rath, and Sam Huntington, Aiden, a vampire, and Josh, a werewolf, move into a new house together to try to live normal lives. They didn't, however, know that they would end up with a third supernatural roommate as well.
I am God. I am everywhere. I drive all night just to get back home.
Are you trying to scare us with Bon Jovi?
You can hear me?
That's when they meet Sally, the ghost. The three supernatural creatures go through various adventures together, constantly protecting one another like family. The series finale, There Goes the Neighborhood, Part 3, is the highest rated episode on IMDB, rated 9.1. By contrast, There Goes the Neighborhood, Part 2, the second part of the series premiere, and Something to Watch Over Me are the lowest rated episodes on IMDB, each rated 7.5. The series frequently references classic horror movies due to its premise being based on horror movie tropes, vampires, werewolves, and ghosts. For example, in You're the One That I Haunt, the camera zooms in on Sally as she says, "Groovy." This refers to the iconic moment from Evil Dead 2 when Ash gets ready to fight the Deadites. Upon affixing a chainsaw to his arm, the camera zooms in on him as he says, "Groovy." There are numerous references like this throughout the series. Number 16, Ultraviolet.
Look, just tell him. The man in the photos, just tell
Yeah,
him.
well, we did get your negatives back. They're full of empty streets and there's no one in them. What's all that about?
From other writers, they ultimately felt that no other writers or directors understood Ahern's vision as well as he did. The result was that Ahern's time was consumed with developing the first series, and he could never outline a second arc. Ahern also admits that high-concept series are best kept short so they don't run out of steam and must be reinvented. Susanna Harker, who plays a vampire hunter here, is, in reality, a descendant of Jonathan Harker, a friend of Bram Stoker who was immortalized in Stoker's novel Dracula. The American Fox network developed a version of Ultraviolet, starring Eric Fell, Joanna Going, and Mad Chinamic, with Idris Elba reprising his role from the British series. The American version did not progress beyond an unaired pilot episode. Howard Gordon, one of the producers contracted to develop the series, said in an interview that we screwed it up, and it just didn't come out that well.
Wooden ammo,
Carbon.
state of the art. But then so are we.
Number 15, Blood Plus.
What was that thing?
A beast that lives on blood. They feast on the blood of humans.
In present-day Okinawa, a young amnesiac girl named Saya combats vicious, shape-shifting vampires. Her adoptive family and friends help her locate their source and uncover her past. The show stars Eri Kitamura, Katsuyuki, and Hiroyuki Yoshino. They are called chiropterans, ravenous creatures that can change their form, disguising themselves as human beings. Immortal creatures that feed off blood hide themselves among us. The Red Shield has been waging a private war to wipe them out. Now, the struggle has grown. Saya Otanashi is an average high school student who suffers from amnesia. She can't remember anything from the past year of her life. Then, one day, a man named Hagi appears and gives her a katana, and her destiny is only partially revealed. The journey for the truth begins. The American version of the series debuted on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim, March 10th, 2007. Number 14, Blade the Series.
You shipping the bodies.
Detroit.
Okay. You can go.
You're kidding, yes?
Yes.
The adventures of the half-human, half-vampire hunter. Marcus plans a full-scale attack on the pure-blood vampires as they gather to celebrate their ultimate triumph, and Marcus prepares to execute his apocalyptic plan. In comics scene number 46, Lee Goldberg notes that he got involved with an earlier television as a companion series to She-Wolf of London. When the latter series disappointed, Blade was aborted as a TV series. Goldberg also met Richard Roundtree at a dinner event to see if he would play Blade. They both got food poisoning. Showtime was originally going to produce the series with Wesley Snipes reprising his famous role as Blade. The series was going to be a loose adaptation of The Blade, the vampire hunter comic book series. Catherine Isabel would be a regular in the series, and the character of Karen Jensen from the first film would return. Mark Singer would be the main character in the series, playing Bible John from the comic. After Snipes turned down the role due to his lawsuit with New Line, Showtime decided not to develop the series. Blade actor Kirk "Sticky Fingers" Jones previously sang the song "Playing with Lightning" for the original Blade, which plays during the climactic scene where a rejuvenated Blade, Wesley Snipes, fights and kills Frost's henchmen after retrieving his shades. Richard Roundtree was one of the original inspirations for creating the comic book character Blade. Eric Brooks. In this series, he plays the older version of Blade's biological father, Robert Brooks. Though the series is meant to be canon with the Wesley Snipes films, it retcons how Whistler came to know Blade. In the first film, Whistler tells how he found Blade on the streets when he was 13 and had been feeding off homeless people. In the series, however, Blade is introduced to Whistler by his father when he was a preteen, not much older than 10, who was seeking help with Blade's constant need to feed. It's also shown that Blade is the reason for Whistler's limp. Number 13. Blood Ties. Vicki Nelson, a former homicide detective turned private investigator, and Henry Fitzroy, a 470-year-old vampire, form a unique team that solves cases and deals with the supernatural world. The show stars Christina Cox, Dylan Neal, and Kyle Schmid. Blood Ties, set in Toronto, Ontario, centers on Christina Cox as Vicki Nelson, a former Toronto police officer who left the force to become a private investigator after beginning to lose her eyesight due to a beginning retinopathic pigmentosa. Through her work, she teams up with the 470-year-old vampire Henry Fitzroy, who happens to be the illegitimate son of Henry VIII. Their mutual attraction is complicated by Vicki's relationship with former partner and lover, Mike Salusai. Initially, he doesn't believe in the supernatural and thinks Vicki is losing her mind and eyesight. Also in the picture is Vicki's assistant, Corrine, who was hired because of her knowledge of the occult and to keep her quiet about Henry. Corrine is thoroughly enamored with both the occult and Henry, which can get her into trouble. Blood Ties is a Canadian television series based on the Blood books by Tanya Huff. Peter Mohan created the show. It is set in Toronto, Ontario, and has a similar premise to an earlier series set in Toronto, Forever Night, in which a vampire assists police in dealing with crime. It premiered in the United States on March 11, 2007, on Lifetime Television, and during the fall of 2007 on City in Space in Canada. In May 2008, Lifetime declined to renew the series. When Lifetime announced that the show was being canceled, fans unsuccessfully tried to have it renewed or sent to another network. All three significant characters appeared in the CW's Arrow. Christina Cox played Mayor Celia Castle in 3 episodes, Dylan Neal played Dr. Anthony Evo in 10 episodes, and Kyle Schmid played Kyle Reston in 1 episode. Number 12. Moonlight.
You know what? Being a vampire sucks. Bad joke, but it's the truth.
An immortal vampire and private investigator struggles to exist after he was bitten 60 years ago by his vampire bride. He is also internally tormented as he falls in love with one he should not. This show stars Alex O'Loughlin, Sophia Myles, and Jason Dohring. The show is based on creator Trevor Munson's book, found on his MySpace page. Over 50 years ago, Mick St. John was turned into a vampire. In modern Los Angeles, he is a private eye, working cases often involving the undead. He uses his supernatural abilities to help mortals in need, which is a difficult task if he is to keep his own identity a secret. Mick's mentor is Joseph, a powerful fellow vampire with many connections. One night, a case leads Mick to reporter Beth Turner, a beautiful human woman he feels bound to protect. But while he struggles with his romantic feelings towards Beth, he meets an enigmatic brunette who looks identical to his ex-wife, Coraline, who turned him into a vampire, a woman who was supposed to be dead. Sophia Myles plays a woman who was saved and, from her childhood, watched over by an aging man she later showed interest in. In The Girl in the Fireplace, she plays a similar role. The man is not a vampire, Mick St. John, but the Time Lord is called the Doctor. Beth's last name is Turner, a tongue-in-cheek reference to a burning question in the story Turn Her. Between 2009 and 2016, The apartment used for Mick's residence appeared in Castle as the loft apartment of Richard Castle, the show's lead character. When Moonlight's ratings indicated it would be renewed, Alex O'Loughlin signed a 3-year contract. However, production was suspended due to the writer's strike. When it returned, it couldn't maintain the ratings and was canceled. Rather than buy out his contract, he was offered 3 Rivers, which he accepted. Upon that cancellation, he was offered the lead in Hawaii 5-0. Sophia Myles and David Tennant broke up a month before the series premiere. Interestingly, David and Sophia worked on Doctor Who. Rounding out the final entry in today's show is number 11, Dracula the series.
So I swore revenge on the vampire that condemned me to this life. But he was too powerful for me then. So I retreated to this theater.
2 children and their vampire-hunting uncle go against Dracula, who is reborn as a modern-day businessman. The show stars Mia Kirshner, Jacob Tierney, and Jordy Johnson.
So I retreated to this theater because I felt at home here. But he cursed the place.
While business keeps their executive mother on the road, Americans Chris and Max Townsend are sent to live in Europe with their uncle, Gustav Helsing. The teenagers soon discover that Uncle Gustav is a vampire hunter whose goal is the destruction of billionaire industrialist Alexander Lukid, who is Count Dracula. This show is corny, very corny, but it knows it is and doesn't take itself too seriously. I believe this was a kids' show aimed at army brats and expatriate kids in Europe.
What a third-rate creature you are, even by zombie standards. Who is creating such an inferior breed?
It is really bizarre how this is supposed to be in Spain or somewhere, and everyone, including the police captain, speaks with an American accent. I love how Sophie always makes snide comments about Americans, but doesn't even attempt to hide her accent. It was filmed in Luxembourg. Geraint Wyn Davies, who plays the vampire Klaus and son of Gustav Van Helsing, would later play another vampire role of Nick Knight in Forever Knight. Jordy Johnson, who plays Dracula, would later guest star in Forever Knight's 3rd season in a non-vampire role. That was our show for today. What did you think? Have you seen these shows? Do you have a favorite from this list? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And while you're at it, I'd be honored if you subscribe to my channel, click the bell to stay informed, and check out my Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter franchise also in the comments. Until next time, this is Axelin for Kevin Given saying live long and prosper, may the force be with you and keep reaching for the stars.